This might sound a little awkward, but there are such things as animation studios from different parts of the world. I mean, yeah, there's real effects from Texas, but that's in the US. The ones I'm talking about are Ilion and Candle Graphics from Spain, Locksmith from the UK, Assemblage Entertainment from India, DigiArt from Korea, Mainframe from Canada, even On Animation from France. But what about an international animation studio that's been defunct for almost 12 years? Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present to you Imagi Animation Studios. It was a small animation studio from Hong Kong, China that mostly worked on TV stuff in the early 2000s, but then worked on films in the late 2000s. So, what happened to Imagi and why haven't they made any more films for almost 12 years? Well, let's find out, shall we? It all started in the year 2000 when, I'm sorry for saying your name incorrectly, Yoko Takyushu and Haruyoku Sanada founded Imagi. It was set up and production started on its very first project, the CG animated television series Zentrix. The company had a studio in Taiwan and Hong Kong, as well as a creative development and production facility in Los Angeles, California, as well as a satellite office in Tokyo. The show Zentrix was about an ambitious and powerful robot named McLissy, who plots with several other robots to rebel against humans, attempting to absolutely annihilate the civilization of human beings and crown themselves as the only inhabitants of the world. In response, Megan, the princess of Zentrix, teams up with a number of humans and together travel back to the past, hoping to destroy McLissy before his rebellion has begun. Now after Zentrix, Imagi then teamed up with DreamWorks Animation and NBC Universal to make a new show called Father of the Pride. The show revolves around the adventures of a family of white lions. It basically consists of Father Larry, the bumbling yet well-intentioned star of Siegfried and Roy show, Kate, a pretty stay-at-home mother who is a member of a special women's group, Ciara, the teenage daughter who is constantly annoyed by her family, Hunter, the awkward young son who is a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, Samoti, Kate's father, and Ciara and Hunter's grandfather, who has a dislike for Larry, and Snack, Larry's mischievous girlfriend friend. There's other characters as well, like Larry's friends Wacho, Chutney, Vincent, and Nelson, and even Ciara's boyfriend Justin. And yes, the show had a very interesting voice cast, including John Goodman and Danny DeVito. And yes, I am aware that the show starred Siegfried and Roy, and that the show was delayed when Roy got attacked by a lion on stage. Anyways, despite heavy promotion, the series was considered a flop, and it was cancelled after one season. And only one season. After that, Imagi then made its first CG theatrical film, TMNT, based on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. It was directed by Ratchet & Clank director Kevin Monroe, and despite the movie being mediocre, it was however #1 on the box office and even had help from Warner Brothers and the Weinstein Company for distribution. You see, Imagi's focus was to create high-quality CG animated feature films with superhero themes to entertain global audiences, combine Hollywood storytelling with computer animation done in Hong Kong. Now, since TMNT was a success, it would be the start of a trilogy, with the sequel being loosely adapted from the Turtles 13-part comic book saga City at War. It's where Mikey, the comic relief, will have felt rejected and joined the Foot Clan in Japan, while the Turtles will have traveled to Japan and will have crossed paths with Kairi and Shredder. It's also worth mentioning that in Japan, the Turtles were really gonna have to move on since Monroe said they, quote, be loose in Splinter. For the third movie, it wasn't exactly known what was gonna happen, but it would feature the Triceratons, as well as the Technodrome's arrival from Dimension X. Now these sequels sound amazing, but all of that will have to wait, as Imagi's next goal was to develop films based on The Legend of Zelda, T-28, Astro Boy, the Cats of DreamWorks film Tusco, an original film called Cat Tail, and the anime Gatchaman, which was to be directed by Monroe and written by Batman the Anime Series alumni Paul Dini. However, 2 years into Gatchaman's development, Monroe left the studio while Imagi was suffering through some serious financial issues. They laid off 50 animators and lost the rights to the Toros. TMNT was originally their first and only film, and it was based on such a huge brand, but even that wasn't enough. You see, Imagi was stationed in Hong Kong, China, a heavily populated city high off taxes. I mean, yeah, TMNT did make money, but that's nothing compared to how much Pixar was making. If there's anything I learned from Robotaxi, it's that if your business is doing just okay, it's not okay when property taxes are through the roof. So Imagi needed their next film to be a success, a major one, and that next film was Astro Boy. This franchise is pretty recognizable and even had some marketing. Critic-wise, it was okay. The jokes are hit or miss and the voice acting kind of sucks, but it's mostly decent. As for the box office though, it only made $42 million on a $65 million budget. One example is because it lost to Where the Wild Things Are. In short, Astro Boy from 2009 was a financial bomb while Imagi had nothing left. So they laid off another 300 employees, closed their doors for good, and all those other films I mentioned before were cancelled, leaving only 2 theatrical films in their portfolio. But I guess they're not alone, since Blue Sky Studios also got shut down, only they got shut down by Disney in February 2021 due to COVID, and yes, they did have the Nomona film cancelled. Now if you don't know, TMNT will later get turned into the Michael Bay films, while Astro Boy will get his own theatrical live-action film by New Line Cinema, which has been currently in development ever since 2017. As for Kevin Monroe, he will later direct the Ratchet & Clank film, which became such a box office bomb that Monroe's next film, Sly Cooper, got cancelled. Hopefully DreamWorks can revive that one. Anyways, Imagi has been debunked for 11 years and it seems as if they'll never reopen it. So, rest in peace Imagi. You weren't the best, but you were at least trying. And that's the history of Imagi Studios. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and comment down below on which next video you want me to do. In the meantime, Spaceboy CT out.
The end.